Another type of loop that we can do in our VBA is a do while loop, which differs from the for next loop in that you don't have to use a counter. We actually check for a condition, and if that condition is true, the loop continues round again. Let's see it in action to see what we can do here. Let's go into our Visual Basic, and in our standard module, we can see the syntax. It's do while and then your condition. Now, the brackets aren't part of the syntax, and we'll put a comment there so the VBA doesn't complain. So do while condition that we're looking for, all your commands, and then the word loop. Now, there is a reverse way of doing these kind of loops, and that is you can do, then all your commands, and then you finish with a loop while, and then your condition. So you're putting the condition at the end of the loop. Either syntax works. Depending on what you're trying to achieve, you might find it better that you put the condition that you're checking at the end of the loop. As soon as that condition is not met, we drop out of the loop and continue with the rest of the program. So let's create a little sub-procedure that will hopefully work for us. We're going to create a little sub-procedure that's going to do a bit of copying down. So I'm going to call it copy down. Imagination is not my strong point. And what we're going to do is we're going to create this little function that copies down a bit of math as long as the cell to the left of it has something in it. So the first stage is to set a variable as double that's going to possibly contain decimal places, and the starting value for x is going to come from the cell we're in, that's the active cell, offset. So I'm not interested in the cell's value that I'm in, but a cell that's offset slightly, and the offset is one row down, but one column to the left, -1 dot value. So if I go back to Excel and explain what I mean, if I've got a list of numbers here, as an example, and I were to click this cell here and trigger my sub-procedure, it would check for that cell there. If that cell has something in it, which is the next stage of our sub-procedure, then we're going to proceed to add something in here, then check that one and add something in here, check that one, put something in here, check that one, put something in here, all the way to the bottom until eventually it checks that one and finds there's nothing in it, and then it won't put anything in here. So effectively it's going to stop at the bottom of the list. We hope. So the first stage is to grab the value of the cell one below and to the left, and if that has something in it, then we can proceed to put our formula in the cell next to it. So we're going to create a do while loop. So do while x is not empty. So we're using a less than and more than symbol to mean not equal to, and then we're using a keyword called empty. So that's possibly two things new being introduced there. Now when I press return, you'll see that the VBA does its title casing, so we know empty is a keyword and effectively means the cell has nothing in it. Not equal to, so it's not equal to empty. It's not empty, there is something in it. So while there is something in x, x being the cell one below and to the left of where I currently am, then we're going to do something. Now, just like the for next loop, I tend to then finish the loop off before I put the commands so that I know I'm not going to miss the closing of the loop. And that goes blue as well. So in between our do and condition and loop, the commands I would like to carry out are firstly to set the value of the cell below where I currently am. So active cell.offset 1, 0. So that's moving down one row, but not moving left or right. Dot value is going to be made equal to x multiplied by 2. So I find out the value effectively bottom left hand corner of where I currently am. If there's something in that cell, then I multiply it by 2 and place it to the cell just to the right. The next job is then to actually physically move down to that cell. So I need to make that cell now the active cell. So active cell.offset 1, 0. becomes the now active cell by using the method activate. And then I have to reset the value of X. And it's exactly the same command as here. So let's do a little copy and paste. So X now looks at the new cell that's just offset from where I am. So one to the left and one down. And then we loop back to the beginning. If this new X is not empty, we run through the whole set of actions again. So let's go back into Excel, place my cursor here, come back to the Visual Basic and run copy down. When I go back to Excel, you'll see that it's stepped all the way down to the last point because it starts here. It looks there. Is this cell empty? No, it's not. Let's do a 2 times. Make this the active cell. So I'm checking this cell. Is it empty? No, it's not. Let's do a 2 times and place it here and make this the active cell. So you can see it steps moving down the list, moving down until it gets to here. Checks to see if this cell is not empty. Because it is, we then fall out of our loop. So out here and carry on with whatever the next command is. So that's a do while loop. Keep doing something while a particular condition is true. Now you have to be a little bit careful, a bit like the for next, that you don't turn this into an endless loop by having a condition that can never be met, because you could cause the VBA to crash. So it's just a little bit of forethought in your planning, thinking, yep, that condition can be met. All we need to do is come across an empty cell and it will stop doing what I've asked it to do, which is moving down one cell at a time and inserting a new double up value. Obviously the math doesn't have to be as simple as times 2, it could be much more complicated than that.